Okay, today we're going to be taking a look at the rogue, Robin Hood. First, I'll point out that Robin Hood has a speed of 8, a save of 4, and a health of 5. She has a ranged attack that will deal 1 wound. On each turn, where you're battling with the monster, each player will get a turn. Each player can make 1 attack on each turn unless they have a special weapon or a special card to allow them to do more. All players have cards in their hands. Some of those cards are attack cards. If I have no attack cards in my hand, or I simply don't want to use an attack card that I have in my hand, I can choose to use the attack on Robin Hood's card. She has a ranged attack, 1 wound. So, in the red wax seal, when you see that on a card, it always means that you have to meet or exceed that number in order for the effect on the card to take effect. So for this attack, I would have to roll a 5 or higher on a 10-sided dice, 0 being a 10. A 5 or higher in order to deal 1 wound of ranged damage to a monster. One of the things that I've done with the characters that you can get on our website is created a flip to each of the characters so that you can flip the card over. The reason to do this is to make the character a little tougher and to make it a little more clear what these 3 numbers indicate. So on the flip side of Robin Hood, we have Robin the Rogue, speed of 8, save of 2, and health of 7. You'll notice that she also has attack, not just a ranged attack, but any type of attack that would qualify. And she deals 1 wound with a 5 or higher. So 2 reasons to use the flip side of the card. One would be if you were a new player. The other reason would be if you were trying to solo play this game. This game can be very difficult, so having a character that's got a little better health and a little faster speed and a little better on the saves can definitely help move through the game quicker, stay alive a little longer. Now, these flip character cards are only available when you buy the game at nightgames.us. Next thing we're going to take a look at with Robin Hood is her friend, Little John. Some differences that you may notice on the card is that the red wax seal is in a different location, and there really is no standard location for the red wax seal. I move it around all the time just to make it different. That way not everything looks the same. The backgrounds here are different. This is a friend card, okay, and again I'll point out the difference here is that the friends don't have speed. The reason for that is that they will attack on Robin Hood's turn. So all friends and allies, if you have an ally in play, here's an ally, again no speed. So if I'm playing with Robin Hood and I have her friend and the ally out, then when it is my turn to attack, I'll attack with each one of them, assuming that the monster hasn't been slain. With Robin Hood, I have the luxury of having cards in my hand and may have some different attacks that I can use for Robin Hood. With friends and allies, you don't have that. All you have is what is available on the friend or ally card. Now, friends and allies can carry equipment. So I could, if I find a sword or another melee weapon, I can arm Little John and make him tougher. This ally uses a magic attack of 1 wound on a 6 or higher. The number on the far right is the health of the adventurer. Robin Hood is a character. Little John is a friend. The magician is an ally. All 3 are considered adventurers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to search through Robin Hood's deck. I'm going to pull out the throwing knives, a ranged weapon. If attack fails, immediately use this weapon for 1 wound. It has a red wax seal so that I know when and if I do use this, I'll need to roll a 6 or higher for it to be effective and for the 1 wound to take effect. Now, it does say if attack fails. That's any attack that Robin Hood makes. It doesn't include attacks from friends. It doesn't include attacks from allies. It's only when Robin Hood makes an attack. When Robin Hood makes an attack, if she misses, then the attack fails, and I can immediately use the throwing knives. Should also mention that Robin Hood is our elven archer rogue. Robin Hood, the elven archer rogue. The next item that I'm going to put with Robin Hood is Robin Hood's bow. It's a ranged weapon, and its special is that it can hit 2 targets. So, in an instance where I'm battling with monsters, if there are more than 1 monster, then using this bow, I can target 2 with my attack. If I'm using the attack on Robin Hood's card, ranged attack 1 wound, 2 targets, I would roll my 5. If I'm successful, then I will hit both targets for 1 wound. I don't have to roll for each target. Not with this bow. Now, if there's only 1 target, this bow does not let me hit that 1 target twice. Very clearly states 2 targets. If there are not 2 targets, then it will only target the one that is there. Next is Robin Hood's hood. This is an item, and with it, when it is equipped, I can discard any number of cards before I draw. So I'm able to discard any number of cards in my hand before I draw. This can be very valuable for Robin. Gives her a lot of flexibility. She's able to cycle through her deck quite quickly and gives you a better chance of being able to pick and choose the way you want to play this character. Now, all characters are only allowed to have 3 equipment slots, unless they have an item that will equip for free or doesn't take a slot to equip. Robin Hood is one character that actually comes with a 4th piece of equipment that she can equip because it equips for free. This is Robin Hood's quiver. It's an item. It equips for free and holds all arrows. Normally in the game, arrows are disposable. So if you get a special kind of arrow, once you use it, it's gone, unless you have a quiver. If you have a quiver, then you can carry the arrows. Arrows are also normally used as a melee or melee weapon if they're not used with a bow. If you have a bow, you can use your arrows as a ranged weapon. If you don't have a bow, you can still use arrows and stab your opponents with them, but then they're discarded. Again, unless you have a quiver to carry them in. If you have a quiver, you keep the arrows. You don't get rid of them after you use them. The next thing I would do when setting up Robin Hood is I would put health counters on her. She gets 5. I would then shuffle my deck, set it to the side, and I'm ready to play. If I were going to play Robin Hood as a solo character, I would do two different things. First, I would use the flip side of the card. So that gives her 7 health. And then second, I would play with Little John in play instead of having him in the deck. Now, if Little John is in your deck, when you are drawing during your draw phase, if you draw and reveal Little John, he plays immediately, and you can draw another card. You do not have to play him from your hand. He comes into play immediately when he is revealed. For solo play, I would start with him in play. And he has a health of 8, so he would get 8 health counters. Next, I would draw 5 cards from the top of my deck, and I'm ready to play. Alright, now let's take a closer look at Robin Hood's deck. First of all, the target card. Robin's target card. The target card is used to determine who the monsters are going to attack. Each character comes with a target card. If you have more than one characters playing, then you would make a pile of target cards, and each time the monsters would attack, you would randomly select a target. If I was playing a multiplayer game and I had Robin Hood in play, and let's say I had a friend Little John and maybe even an ally. Allies are discovered in the dungeon. When you discover them again, they come immediately into play. Now, let's say it was the monster's turn to attack. My target card was revealed. Alright, so I have some options here because I have a friend and an ally. I can choose for the monster to attack Robin, or to attack Little John, or to attack the ally. I can also wait until the monster attacks and see if I'm going to get hit. And if the monster is successful, then I can say, okay, well, I want him to hit Little John. And then Little John would take the damage instead of Robin Hood or my ally. Now, the other thing that Robin Hood has the ability to do is in her deck, she has a special card that allows her to hide. Always on the run. You can't arrest me if you can't find me. Special hide. This card can only be played on Robin Hood. It cannot be played on a friend. It cannot be played on an ally. It may not be played on other characters or other adventurers at all. It can only be played on Robin. When Robin plays this card, she is hidden, and she cannot be targeted. So if I did not have a friend and ally in play, then my target card would be removed from random selection. However, if Little John, my friend, and my ally, or just a friend, are in play, then yes, Robin is hidden, but the target card stays in random selection because Little John is a legitimate target, as would my allies be. Okay, so the Robin Hood deck, let's see what we have inside. Yoo-hoo, I'll make you famous. Ranged attack. The accuracy for this attack cannot be reduced. 1 wound. Instead of using Robin's normal attack, the ranged attack 1 wound with a 5, I can now deal that 1 wound with a 4 or higher. So this makes the ranged attack card that's in my hand, makes more sense that I would want to play this instead of using this ability. I could choose not to and just use this ability. but I could also play this card. I'm allowed to play one attack card for each character from my hand each time I get to attack. Attack cards may not be used for friends, they may not be used for allies. They may only be used for characters. So I'll stand with you side by side until the end. Ranged attack, 1 wound. Again, the reason I would use this card is because it improves my accuracy. We are men of the hood. Marry now, at your expense. Ranged attack. This one will deal 2 wounds on a 4 or higher. No need to worry, I'm an outlaw. Ranged attack. 1 wound, then hide. This card has a special ability of allowing me to hide immediately after I make my attack. Outlaw. That's a naughty word. Ranged attack. 2 targets, 1 wound each. Now, I'll mention here that when you're using Robin's bow for these attacks, it already gives you the ability to hit 2 targets. However, there are more bows in the game. You may find a bow that you like for other reasons. Maybe it'll hit 3 targets, or maybe it does extra damage. In any case, those bows can benefit from this card, allowing you to choose 2 targets. If I am using Robin Hood's bow, and it does allow me to hit 2 targets, I cannot add those up and say, oh, well, I get 2 targets for this and 2 targets for this. No. All of these cards are played under the assumption that you're using Robin Hood's bow. I guess I should have mentioned that earlier. When Robin Hood's set up with all, and she's ready to play, and I have cards in my hand. And we're facing a monster. And it's my turn to attack. This monster has 2 health. Then it says add 2 health for each adventurer. So if it's just myself and the monster, he's got 4 health. So it's Robin Hood's turn, and it's my turn to attack. So I'm going to say, alright, I'm going to play this ranged attack. Deal 1 wound and hide. I'm going to use this weapon. So I'm using this weapon with this attack. If I do not have a card in my hand that I can play, I'm going to use this weapon with this attack. Next we have quit your preaching and fight. 3 targets, 1 wound each. So again here I can target 3 monsters at one time, dealing 1 wound to each of them if I roll a 4 or higher, using my Robin Hood bow. 3 targets, 2 wound each. No matter where you go, the world isn't big enough to hide from me. Ranged attack, 3 targets, 2 wounds each on a 4 or higher. This will be my finest performance. Ranged attack, 4 targets, 1 wound each. Now you'll notice here that it's also more difficult to be successful with this attack. Because there are 4 targets, 1 wound each, made it a little more difficult. An archery contest? Really? Ranged attack. Play when Robin is hidden. Deal 1 wound and Robin is no longer hidden. This card does not have a red wax seal. Therefore, when you play it, it is an automatic hit for 1 wound. However, in order to play this card, Robin Hood has to be hidden. If she is hidden, then you can play this card, and she will no longer be hidden. Did I upset your plans? Counterattack. Play when attacked. Now that means play when attacked. If Robin Hood's card is revealed, her target card comes up, then you can play this card. If she is not targeted, you can't play this card. It's that simple. Play when attacked. The attack fails, you deal 1 damage. It has a red wax seal, so I know I have to roll a 4 or higher in order for this card to be effective. Do you yield? Special attack. Play when any adventurer deals wounds to add 1 wound. Now, play when any adventurer deals wounds. That's what any means. Any means it could be Robin Hood, could be her friend, it could be her ally, it could be another player's character or adventurer. Any adventurer, you can play this card and add 1 wound. Again, you'll notice it has a red wax seal, so in order for this card to be effective, I have to roll the dice, and I have to roll a 2 or higher. Because it is a special attack, it can be played at any time. Well, more specifically, it can be played when it says, play when an adventurer deals wounds. That could be 1 wound. It does say wounds, however, it could be 1 wound. If any adventurer deals any amount of wounds, you can play this card at any time. It doesn't have to be your turn. This is English Courage, special. Skip Robin's turn. Add 3 to Robin's next attack roll. Okay, this card isn't as clear as I'd like it to be. Skip Robin's turn. Well, you do not have to skip Robin's complete turn. You have to skip Robin's attack. It should say skip Robin's attack. Add 3 to Robin's next attack roll. So you can still exchange items, equip, attack with your other adventurers, but in order for this card to be effective, you have to skip Robin's attack turn. So Robin could not attack, although Little John could. So I would play this, skip Robin's attack, and then on her next attack, I would be able to add 3 to her attack roll. Your traps just never work. Special. Play when a trap encounter is revealed. Save to disarm it. So again, this is another special. It doesn't have a red wax seal, so it's going to be automatic. I'm going to play it when a trap encounter is revealed. There are traps in the exploration decks. When a trap is encountered or revealed, then I can play this card instantly and disarm it instantly. Oops, did I take too much? Special. Play when you draw from the loot deck. Draw 2, then put 1 back. And again, this is pretty plain, pretty clear, I think. You play it when you would draw from the loot deck. So, it doesn't matter if Robin Hood slayed the creature, Little John slayed the creature, or one of your other allies slayed the creature. You're the player, you will draw from the loot deck. And when you do, you'll draw 2 and put 1 back. Now that doesn't mean you put 1 back on the bottom of the deck. It doesn't mean you shuffle the deck in any way. You take 2 cards from the top of the deck, you put 1 card back on top of the deck. I'm only just beginning. From this night forward, I'll use every means to fight you. Special. Play when wounded. Reduce wounds dealt to 1 and then hide. Again, the wording here is important. It's not play if wounded. You could be wounded throughout the entire game. If you're wounded, it doesn't mean you can play this card. You can only play this special card when you're wounded. So I have a monster that attacks me. It does 4 damage. I play this card. That damage is reduced to 1 and then I hide. Give way, little man. Special. Play when a trap is triggered. Avoid the trap and take no wounds. This special card allows me to play it immediately when a trap is revealed. But in this case, instead of disarming the trap, I'm able to avoid it with Robin, and only with Robin. If I have Little John or other allies in play, they cannot avoid the triggered trap. Only Robin Hood can. Play when a trap is triggered, avoid the trap, take no wounds. So Robin will take no wounds. Always on the run. You can't arrest me if you can't find me. Special hide. This is a special that doesn't have any requirements of any kind. You can play it anytime you want and hide Robin Hood. You cannot play it on another character, you cannot play it on a friend, and you cannot play it on an ally. This card can only be played on Robin Hood. When you play it on Robin, she is hidden. So that's a close look at Robin Hood and how to play her.